All right, welcome to the first episode of the year 2023. We took a little while to start because we had very wonderful vacations and vacation time shouldn't have stopped. So we on Trinidad Cast. It's myself, Mr. Charles, and Mr. Redbit himself. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Charles. Good evening, everyone out there. Happy New Year to everyone. I'm not sure, it's our cutoff date from when you could stop saying Happy New Year.
Happy New Year?
January 15th.
For real?
You don't want to go into February, March still telling people Happy New Year. So when is our cutoff date?
I thought you're trolling me, is a real thing?
At least for me, by
the
time you end of January, or is it the first time you see somebody for the New Year?
I know, but when Christmas finish, you just go till like January something, and then you take your Christmas tree or some kind of thing like that. But I nobody in Happy New Year thing. Okay.
Yeah, so alright, let's say February 1st, 2nd. First time you see somebody for the New Year, you go and wish them Happy New Year.
Yeah.
If it's in March or April.
But I might do it in jest or like on kicks. But if I see in February, I'll tell you Happy New Year. Like March, okay. March will be like, hey, what you seeing? I ain't see you for the New Year or something like that. But something along those lines. But it's a new year, new tech, lots of things to talk about. And of course, we always try to make sure that we give you something local. We try to make sure we monitor things in Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean, because we don't just want to report about things that happen in America, because it may never happen here. We had to think about what are the things that pertain to us. So that's why it's called the Trinidad Cast. And if you're listening online, I realize we get a few podcast listeners over the vacation while I was checking.
That's cool.
I see the numbers. We reached double digits in one of the podcasts, and I was like, what? Somebody else probably spying. Just to check to see what them fellas doing, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So this year, I'll share the podcast a little more on my little pages. I never shared it with anybody yet because last year was more like beta, but I think we kind of figure out a little run. So today we're going to talk about solar in Trinidad, solar panels and the policy documents and all that stuff. We will watch a little video. You'll hear audio too for those of you all. Then we'll dive into ChatGPT and see how it pertains to a lot of the things that we might want to do, especially plagiarism in universities, coming from a teacher, and Scotiabank starting to charge for online bank transfers. Well, I mean, that was inevitable. But we'll check to see what they said about it, because they said some stuff. So let's get to the first article. We're going to jump into solar in TNT. All right, so what you want to do? Start off with the video, or?
Yeah, I guess we could start with the video, and I know, we saw the entire discussion, I think late last year, the government, not the government, but I believe the RIC is looking to introduce increased rates for electricity in the country. It has been a topic of contention, So, I mean, solar, exploring solar and seeing what benefits it may bring, even to just reduce the bill. So, I guess it, is a good thing, potentially a good thing. So you could check exactly what they say.
All right, so I'll go into the video, and I'll just kind of skip through it to get to the parts where he's discussing stuff, because I think I have the timestamps properly, right? So, so there's him here.
And as we move along over the next 5 years, we ought and we must, by seeking to reduce our carbon footprint, establish more solar plants as well as wind plants.
After the ceremony, TV6 News sought some clarification. In terms of the issue of solar panels on people's homes and what we see in other jurisdictions where there could even be a buyback system in terms of electricity, where is the government or TNTech or the ministry in terms of that kind of initiative?
That is also going to be a main feature as we move into 2023. We have been working on a policy document and a draft amendment to the Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Act.
he explained why the amendment was necessary.
Because you're talking about a different format in the generation of electricity. In this particular case, by a private citizen, or citizens in their homes, community centers, or other buildings. So we've been working with the IDB on a consultant, to come up with a draft policy. The policy is almost 100% completed. I
was glad that the reporter, I think that was Jules Brown, because he's asked good questions ever so often, like, you know, that's a good fella. Because when they did the original presentation, all they were talking about was TNTech doing this, they putting in a big solar plant for something in line with sustainability development and all that kind of stuff. So they're basically talking about all the things that I think carbon zero now. Anybody a part of the, what's the name of the Commonwealth? It's not Commonwealth, is the UN? Whatever, right? Yeah. They have this thing about all countries are supposed to try to implement solar and whatnot. So they were talking about this megawatt generation plan that they were going to do. But after he stick him and he asked him, so what about consumers? Which I was real happy for. Mm-hmm. And like he had a prepared answer. So basically this policy document supposed to come out and it's supposed to speak about what is going to take place when it comes to what they offer to the consumer. And I'm not too sure what the time frame will be because he said within the next 3 months, and this video was in December. I think December the 22nd, as far as I see. So that means December, January, February, March. By that time.
So I mean, he mentioned, you getting the solar power and being able to feed it back into the grid and getting what you call more or less getting reimbursements. But isn't that kind of similar to what happens right now? Because I know right now you can, access solar panels, and use it as a source, and eventually, if your light bill is low enough, you get reimbursed. So, like, what's the difference?
I don't know. I don't think we could connect it to the grid, because when you put solar on your house, you have to go to TNTech to get inspected first. But, if you want to connect it to the grid, if you do anything electrical in your house that feeds back into the grid, you need to get inspection from TNTech. That's flat, right? Mm-hmm. Now, when you do solar, based on when I spoke to my electrician, because when I was doing all the smart stuff in my house, and I asked him about solar, he said, you go fail the inspection if you put solar panels and it's connected to your house and connected to a meter, because they will say that is an illegal connection that they can't check, and it will be like a fire hazard or some kind of thing like that, because there were no policies in place for it.
Okay. So right now you probably need to run some kind of secondary grid in your house if you have solar.
Yeah. So what he was telling me, you could put the solar, and you could run it on your lights and all that kind of stuff, but we cannot connect that to a meter. Mm-hmm. So it will be two separate circuits. And I was like, nah, I really don't want to do that. I really want to have the solar as like a backup.
Yeah, or to supplement.
Yeah, to supplement, stuff, to supplement and handle the small appliances and the lights and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And there is no policy for it. So that's why he's talking about this policy right now to say, well, we're putting it in place, and of course, there is a consultant from the IDB, because the Interdevelopment Bank is that's where consultants breed.
So this more or less involve us taking our loan then, because I mean, involved.
Because the megawatt plant that they want to put in to generate solar in whatever part of the country it is, of course, is the IDB giving a loan for it. Like, who else is getting things approved by Trinidad, the Interdevelopment Bank? Because as far as I know, the Interdevelopment Bank is supposed to provide you money to develop your country, and then I don't even know who does run the IDB. Like
the mafia.
So I go Google the IDB. I don't know. Interdevelopment Bank. What else? Inter-American Development Bank, IADB, is the main source of financing for sustainable social development. Who are we? It looked like it's a non-profit organization. Oh yeah, that's. All right, I ain't going into that. Because once on the webpage, you have a page called Integrity and Accountability.
Yeah.
And then when you click on the page, you only see one paragraph. Okay, cool. Moving on.
I mean, for me, this is a pretty interesting development. You know, as I said before, given the proposed price increases, you know, if this turns out to be cost effective in the long run, you know, in terms of doing the installations and then, you know, comparing it versus your current light bill versus when you install. And if in the long run it proves to be more cost effective, I mean, you could definitely see it catching on because, I mean, somebody whose light bill is already small or probably, let's say, around $500 and less, you know, would it
500
be...
is small. 500 is small. Like I don't know.
I know people light bills be $1,000 and thing or more,
okay.
$1,000 and more.
My light bill is small, thanks.
My light bill is $700.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You know,
for
somebody whose light bill is around $200, you know.
Yeah.
Would it make sense to invest in solar? You know, I think it'll make sense for people whose light bills are a bit higher. You know, the cost savings. So if you invest all this money in solar equipment and your light bill is $200, how much money you really go? If you only go and save $20 or $50, you know, would that be worth it for spending? Because solar equipment could get pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So,
it's about a 15 grand minimum to get the equipment and just have like lights on solar.
Yeah. So I feel it'll have like a price point, you know, based on how much your light bill is each month.
But
every
like
2
when
months.
I check Tesla solar, right, and they have like these solar panels and they have a battery and all that kind of stuff. In America, they were saying that you would make back your money in 10 years. And that is with maintenance and all that kind of stuff, right? And that's putting a battery in your house. You have a wall, you have the wiring and all that. And they have, in America, they call it net metering. Net metering will just basically mean that however much money you feed back into the grid, how much current you feed back into the grid, TNTech basically pays you and says, thank you very much, we'll pay you back for this. And then your bill will go down to zero. But
they would owe you?
Yeah, well, in the States, it's possible for it to go negative, right? But I ain't seen that happen. I didn't see that happen in Trinidad. I feel they would just be like, well, yeah, we reached a zero. That's about all that you will get. Like, that means you don't pay us anything. But
I mean, $200 every 2 months, how long it'll take it to reach 15 grand?
Yeah, that's the kind of maths you have to put. Plus, you have to maintain it because you have to make sure them solar panels get clean, and you have to make sure that you probably get the wires and stuff inspected. Plus the battery that you're using will have to get serviced too, to ensure that like an iPhone or any other phone, the battery will degrade over time, and then you might have to get a battery.
Especially iPhones.
Yeah. Everybody, yeah. And they'll all have to figure that out. So I think we're ripe for it. No, I don't think we're ripe for it. I think only people like me and you and like random folks who have their own house and techie will try to put that. But nobody having an apartment and saying, I'm going to put solar on my apartment complex because I want to be green and whatnot. The rent will go up, of course. Like they'll be like,
or they just let the tenant pay.
Yeah, pay that. Because once you put that up, that's a permanent fixture. And I think the housing market in Trinidad will be the biggest problem. Because not much people who would be interested in this have their own houses right now.